Hello and welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute-a-day podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse, recorded here in the dining room of the Bible Bistro, located in Sharonville, Ohio. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. Come on in, let that screen door slam behind you, get yourself something hot or cold to drink, sit down with me, and let's open our Bibles up for some artisanal Bible study. That word artisanal has been a part of Daily Dose Radio for a long time. One of the reasons why I like to use that, of course I don't use all those words jokingly, artisanal, organic, fresh, and so forth, because that's how people market things. You know, they want you to feel like that it's just made just for you. It's artisanal, and it's local, and it's, responsibly sourced, and all those little catchphrases that we use today in marketing. And I do so jokingly, but also not jokingly. This is artisanal. I mean, I sit here and I make this podcast just for you. And so it is artisanal, even though I make a joke about it, and I say it's fresh and organic, but it is. It's all those things. This place that I call the Bible Bistro here on the internet is a place where we can come and meet together and have some fresh, artisanal Bible study, just you and me together. So today we're going to be in verses 15 and 16 in Psalm 9. The nations will sink down into the pit that they have made. In the net that they hid are their own feet snared. The Lord is known by the judgment he executes, so the wicked is taken by the works of his hands. Higgaion, Selah. All right, well that's verses 15 and 16. You'll notice that we go from the bloody man or the ways of the bloody to the nations. So now we've sort of expanded our view from a personal thing. David's saying, "Be gracious to me, look upon the affliction of those that hate me." So there's a group that's afflicting David, and when he makes that prayer there in 13, we understand it. Now we go to the nations or the heathen. We could also translate that word, the heathen. They will sink down into the pit that they have made. If you remember back in Psalm 7, I think it was Psalm 7, we talked about the pit and the wicked man creating a pit, and he's falling into the pit that he cut himself. And I gave you an illustration about when I was a little boy, and I put a rock in the road. I told that story back, I think, when I was teaching Psalm 7. This idea of creating a trap for someone else and then you yourself falling into it is an idea or a concept that we're going to find repeated over and over and over again in the Psalter. So their wickedness is like a cycle. It's like a process. They begin thinking that, I'm going to trap the innocent, but they end up trapping themselves. The sin of their heart actually comes back and consumes them and not the one that they had intended it for. Again, I'll refer to my little illustration. I hope that you'll go back and listen to that. It's in Psalm 7. I think it's when I was commenting on verse 15. So the nations are going to sink down into the pit that they've made, the snare that they have placed. And again, the snare is also used as an analogy for the traps that they're setting. So they dig pits, they place snares. You don't see the pit. You don't see the snare until it's too late. Like the bird that's flying along, and then the fowler springs the snare trap, and the net slips over the top of the flying birds and pulls them down. That's the idea. The snare of the fowler is the thing that the wicked are trying to create, but the Lord is the one who's going to break it. And they're going to be the ones that fall into that themselves. The Lord is known by the judgment he executes. And what judgment does he execute? He executes the judgment of the wicked or the heathen falling into the snare, being trapped by their own net. So the wicked is taken by the work of his hands. There it says at the end of 16. Wickedness always is taken by the works of their own hands. This idea is repeated over and over again. As a matter of fact, we're going to see it next week in Psalm 10. And then we have this lovely little piece of, this is such a musical piece. We have another musical statement here, Higgaion, which could be time for meditation. This meditation could be with or without music, we're not sure. And then we have a Selah, which means time for a break. So we have Higgaion Selah, which really puts an emphasis here on the fact that we're going to stop now and we're going to meditate on these things. Let's meditate on the goodness of the Lord right now. Let's think about praying and trusting Him, singing praise and declaring all of His good works, and remembering that He's the one that brings us up from the gates of death, up to the gates of Zion. The Lord does that work for us. Let's think about that as well. Join me again tomorrow where we'll look at verses 17 and 18 here on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. For more fresh and delicious Bible studies, podcasts, books, and more, check out the Bible Bistro online and on YouTube. Join me again next time for Daily Dose Radio.